but I
Okay.
watched it again very like down to the wire. Like,
But you watched it again. That's what you're telling the people who are now hearing you now that we're recording.
of course,
Yeah,
I
there we go.
did my due diligence and watched the thing twice, like I always do.
Excuse me. I'll try to stop doing that once we. I haven't been coughing until we started this recording. It's weird.
You're allergic to
I'm allergic to
podcasts.
podcasts. You just want to jump.
Whew.
Oh, do you have the opening narration where you need it?
Oh shit, I had it.
I can put it in
I
the
think
chat. I'll put it in the
I
chat.
okay, that'll work. Because I'm like, I had it. It was right in front of me,
Right.
and I
Well,
think
it's
I
going to
just
be right
got
in front of you again.
distracted. I
Now
think
it's
I
right in
just
front of
got
you again.
distracted,
It's
and
right in
then
front of you
yeah,
again for the
it's
second
right in
time.
front of me again
There we
for
go.
the second time for the last time.
Yes. Okay. I guess we'll jump into it. So let's give 5 seconds and I will start the podcast.
Okay.
Welcome to Time Enough Podcast, where we delve into the Twilight Zone. My name is always is Matt, and joining me is Mark. Hi,
Hey, it's
Mark.
Floyd Burney, the Rockabilly Kid. I
Oh,
don't
we didn't
have
do
the
that.
guitar with me.
That's basically
Yeah,
what he was
that.
doing, right?
Yep,
Oh
that was
crap, there's
that.
more. The Jacob brothers stormed into Mark's place and whacked him with a wet noodle. But
No.
he's okay, can talk about the episode. Come wander with me. All
I
right.
was I was gonna sing the I was going to
Beat you to
sing
the
the
punch. Beat you to the
prologue.
punch.
No, I decided that would take too long because there's too many words in it.
Not if you did it Floyd Burney Rockabilly style.
I suppose so, but
I'll see a
too
Lily
late.
down there. Well, you do. Miss Floyd
Um,
Burney and gentlemen, sultry insert. Sorry, that's gonna get real annoying really quick. That's why you're not doing it. I get it. Okay.
okay. So anyway,
Um,
we're here to talk about.
the second lowest rated episode of The Twilight Zone according to IMDb, which you chose.
Yeah, I came in under the wire and was like, I want this, give it to me, and
I was like, yeah,
I'm
I'll give it
still
to you. I'll come
confused.
wander with you.
Yeah, I'm still confused. Why do people just not like it because they don't like the song or
That
don't
might be part
like
of it. It has been covered, has been used in other places. It's been used as a weird retro thing in like later movies. But
been used in the infamous The Brown Bunny, which is
yeah,
infamous for reasons I'm not going to get into on this
it's not come wander
family
with me.
podcast.
um,
uh, would not
yeah.
make it past the censors
I don't do
ever.
I think this should be the second lowest rated? No, it's atmospheric, it's weird. I mean, we did a occurrence on Owl Creek Bridge. You did it with me. Uh and that had a kind of what was it, a living man or whatever, which kind of weirded up the episode a little bit too. So maybe people don't like melancholic folk songs.
I
You
thought
and
that was
I
a high rated episode.
it
Owl
is. I'm
Creek
just I'm
Bridge.
just talking about
Okay.
other weird folk songs that show up in Twilight Zone episodes. This one's Wicker Man enough. You dig the Wicker Man. I
Yeah,
dig the Wicker Man. This has
that's
a Wicker Man vibe. I like that.
that's a huge part of why I chose this. This is very Wicker Man like. Also, this was the last episode produced. I don't know how much of this is in your trivia, and maybe forgive me if I'm stepping
I
on it a
should have.
little
I
bit.
knew that. I should have written it in, but I didn't. So you're saying it now. So go for
Oh,
it.
well, good. This reads to me exactly like um Rod Serling, like just telling the network to kiss off at the end. Be like, what you guys that you can't take the story from me, and if you mess with it, you'll die.
P.S. I'll make Night Gallery in 3 years, 4 years,
Yeah,
whatever it
P.S.
is.
Yeah, it's like a kind
5 years.
of a almost atypically savage in a way because it's pretty much just like you mess with nature, you die violently. Like no
You mess
matter
with weird hillbilly
and
rednecks, you die.
yeah, and Floyd Burney is not. It's not like he's not likable, but he's not like what you would
Dislikable.
call evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Um,
seems like a, guy that's kind of stuck in his own fame that just happens to end up in redneck hell.
I mean, he comes across like probably somebody you have to deal with to produce a TV show. And the reason why he's like that, and probably the reason that people who Rod Serling dealt with who were like that, is because they all desperately want to keep their own jobs. So they learn to be terrible. Um, but anyway, I this reads to me so much as like the bow on the Twilight Zone that I can't help but love it.
Okay, that's an interesting theory. Let's delve into that a little more, but I will get into that trivia right now. The original air date was May 22nd, 1964. Richard Donner directed. The guy later helmed The Omen and The Maverick, and he was quite busy on the tail end of The Twilight Zone. My dyslexia slipped in again, and I wrote The Later Guy. That's kind of fun. I'm the later guy.
It's I'm the later guy.
Anthony Wilson wrote the script. He's got no wiki and a sparse IMDb, but 10 years later, he would create the Planet of the Apes TV show, which Mark and I are just finishing in-depth coverage of on podcast 1999. And we'll be, in fact, chasing this episode with the penultimate episode of that live action series, just for weird
Glad you kept that in.
coincidences. Yeah.
Well, that was also part of why I picked this episode.
Right. I also, when I said he's got no wiki and a sparse IMDb, I watched your eyebrows raise, which was fun. Like the other, like you were like, oh, he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Jeff Alexander scored the music, including the title song, which features lyrics from the aforementioned Anthony Wilson. Alexander's main stock and trade was writing scores for Elvis Presley movies. Rockabilly Floyd Burney was played by Greg Crosby. If the name rings a bell and the face seems vaguely familiar, this is the son of legendary crooner and roadsman Bing Crosby. Gary eventually wrote a memoir about how Daddy and Mommy Crosby drove him to alcoholism. And Denise is a niece if you Trekkies are interested.
Hmm.
Bonnie Beecher was Mary Rachel. They say she was also the muse behind Bob Dylan's song Girl from the North Country, and she also appears in Star Trek's Spectre of the Gun. Then she married Wavy Gravy.
Hmm. How
Yeah,
about that?
interesting. I guess he was younger then.
Yeah, we all were, weren't we? Weren't we?
You
If we
weren't
were
born yet.
alive.
You weren't alive.
If
The
we
old, if, only if. The old man was played by Hank Patterson. He didn't like no city, and is known for the roles of Hank Miller on Gunsmoke and Fred Ziffel on both Petticoat Junction and Green Acres. You dig those shows? Were you remembering that
um
correct?
I I didn't like them as a kid, but I respect Green Acres now as like an absurdist. Like I
Okay.
understand Green Acres now. I
Mm.
haven't gone back and like tried to rewatch it. Back in the day, I would just watch it because Ava Gabor, because I was just like whatever you want to call that, metrosexual for life. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch a Gabor do
I
whatever. I'll
feel
watch
like I
Hollywood
should watch at
Squares.
least Green Acres because as I think I've said before, I was just like stuck on Beverly Hillbillies for whatever reason, which I do understand is probably
Yeah.
lower quality than Green Acres. So, but all I know of hillbilly sitcoms is the Beverly Hillbillies.
What you're watching when you see Green Acres is it's like sophisticated man from New York who chose to live in the country, and it constantly is just like madness spouting from everyone. It seems like everyone is insane except for him, and you just are watching him be confused.
Uh,
So if that sounds good, and it kind of is.
I was trying a classic sitcom on YouTube last night. Like I think I told you I've had a little trouble, like a little insomnia this week, probably because of cold medicine side effect, right? So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just like play like a YouTube sitcom, something a sitcom I could get on YouTube. So
Hmm.
first I tried Wings, which I never watched any in the first place, and that
Didn't
five
like
seconds
it.
in, I was like, no, this is not for
Bad.
me. Then I was like, Newhart. Okay, Newhart's on YouTube. I'll try Newhart, and Bob Newhart didn't show up for 5 minutes, and the first 5 minutes was just like clumsy sitcom writing. And I'm sure if I really was like doing, but I was trying to do it as like kind of audio play, right? Um,
Yeah.
I also tried The Shadow, but that was too tinny, and I just couldn't deal with it. Then
Hmm.
I tried Mitch Hedberg, like a stand-up stuff, and I started to fall asleep, and then I wake up a little bit, and like what he was saying made so little sense, like even less than usual. So it was like driving me insane, and then I just had to try and go to sleep. Like if
Yeah,
you're
I
just
never
kind
do
of
that.
half waking up and you're hearing the punchline of a Mitch Hedberg joke without the setup, that's really, really kind of maddening.
I'm quite fully feel like new TV's better, and I just
I
mostly
want
don't
something
watch a lot of
I
it.
wasn't gonna watch. I was like listening only. That was the point because I was trying to go to sleep.
Yeah. Oh, well, I also can't go to sleep when I cannot go to sleep listening to dialogue
Ah,
or
okay.
music,
Well,
really. I
apparently I
can't go to
can't
sleep
either.
listening to things.
Hmm.
I know some people, unless I'm like watching a movie at someone else's house, in which case I'll fall asleep. But
Anyway, last night's insomnia, not as bad as the previous few nights. Medicine's finished. We'll see where that goes. Mark, can you give us a opening narration?
hey, Mr. Floyd Burney, a gentleman songster in search of songs about to answer the age old question of whether a man can be at two places at the same time. As far as his folk song is concerned, we can assure Mr. Burney he'll find everything he's looking for, although the lyrics may not be all to his liking. But that's sometimes the case when the words and the music are recorded in the Twilight Zone.
The bit was you were a fast talking wheeler dealer.
Yeah, I was just basically Floyd Burney. I was doing the Floyd Burney when he thought he was about to die.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, the player pianos were too loud. Just jumping to the end. But why don't we go to the start first? It's kind of interesting. Like, it seems Gary Crosby's mostly known for writing of Daddy Dearest memoir.
Hmm.
Bonnie has this in the Star Trek, but otherwise she was kind of like, I guess, like ingenue for hippies or something.
And part of why this episode works is because got such weird she's got such a weird vibe, and Gary Crosby is such like a normal he has such a normal vibe. It's like they play off of each other. It's wild how well they play off of each other in this case, because most of the episode is just them hanging out, you know.
I get it. She looks like, like hippie royalty, right?
He kind of looks kind of Shelley Duvall vibes a little bit.
Yeah. She looks a little less mousy than Shelley, if we're getting down to brass
Well,
tacks there, but
yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, who doesn't?
yeah, I could just see where, yeah, where Wavy Gravy and Dylan were like into her. I get that fully. It says she's also an American activist, but I can't find information about what she's activating. I guess that's just because she hangs out with Wavy Gravy. She's worked
She
as
produces
administrative
Activator.
director of Camp Win a Rainbow since 1983. There I'm doing extra
There you go.
trivia. A circus and performing arts camp in Northern California. So the activism is circus acts? Maybe? I don't know. Trey Cool went there as a
I mean,
camper.
I've known people who worked at like nonprofit circuses, so that makes sense.
Okay. I mean, I did the environmental education thing for a couple years, right? So I guess that's like in the wheelhouse. I worked with mostly hippies.
Huh. Wavy Gravy is 88.
Oh, he's 5 years older. And I guess they're still kicking it. Good
Five
for
years
them.
older. Yeah.
Glad to hear.
As
Um,
far as we know, they're doing good.
so uh I have a
Oh,
voice.
did you see what their son's named?
Was that? Give it to me.
Okay. Howdy do good gravy tomahawk truck stop Romney,
Well,
who
you
has
gotta
since become
nickname that.
known as Jordan Romney.
Zappa was smarter in this. He went with Moon Unit, who also changed the name. But like that's at least like dealable. Like you could go with Moon Unit if you needed to. Dweezil kept Dweezil, I think.
It took I had to build up the confidence to say that because it was just so much. But
Okay.
yeah, I
Oh,
mean that's committing to the bit. Like great job, Wavy Gravy. Nobody thinks you're a poser.
I have a voice for the episode title. I'll do it if you want.
Sure.
Come wander with me. It's because there's this
Ah!
no, there's this book we read for kids at where I work. It's come play with me. It's like this cat playing sports. He's not quite cute, so I just the whole book I give him that voice, which I guess that's kind of the dream finder voice or something. But
Okay. I
come
mean, it
with
sounds
me
like
to a world of inspiration, that sort of thing, right?
yeah.
So I don't know. Now, once I started hearing the song, obviously that transposed that dumb voice. I'm just looking at my notes, and that was there. First shot of this episode, what'd you think of?
The first shot was what was his grave?
No, oh no,
Right.
that's right before the opening narration, which is actually several minutes in. The opening narration was like surprisingly late. No, where his car is stuck at the bridge. I'm like, oh my God, is this Evil Dead?
Oh.
I just went straight to
I
Evil
didn't
Dead for
have
that.
much of a thought, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, kind of is Evil Dead, isn't it? Isn't this like more of a horror thing than we're used to?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's Floyd's basically getting I mean, just counting the movies and not the TV series. I guess Ash is just stuck in a perpetual circle of hell in the movies. I haven't seen the TV show. Maybe he's still stuck in a
Oh,
perpetual
it's
circle of
good.
hell. I've heard it's
It's
good. I
good.
just haven't seen it.
It leans more into the he's like an idiot and a jackass, but it's like it works though.
Ash is an idiot and a jackass. That's why we like him.
Yeah, yeah. They do. It's good. It's worth your time. Even the third season like fell off a little bit because there was a plot line where he basically like there's a plot line that I can tell you because they didn't use it, but like the showrunner quit because there was a plot line where he goes back in time with one of the whatever
People.
MacGuffins, one of the MacGuffins from Evil Dead lore. Lucy Lawless is there like a lot, and she basically
Oh, that's
is
good.
important. And she gives him a thing that he goes back in time into like the second movie, and he goes and like has sex with this character's mom, and then becomes her dad. But
Okay.
then they decided not to go with that,
Mm.
so he quit.
Okay. That's in the
So it wasn't
weeds.
as good after that.
Right.
They
Okay.
they wrote him in a different daughter.
Mm. Okay,
Anyway,
sure. Anyway, maybe one day. I mean, let's be honest. Ash and the Evil Dead, as
why
much as
not?
I like Ash and as much as I like the Evil Dead, that's like, well, it's 30 on the list of TV shows I might get around to watching, you know?
I mean, tell me the other 29 and I'll tell you if they're worth your time if I've seen them.
No.
Okay.
I was of course gear checking as a guitarist. I was like, that is an old school pig nose amp, which was kind of exciting to see. You know, the pig nose, the little portable amps where the knob is a pig nose.
Yes, I'm familiar. I didn't notice it though because
Yeah.
I am not a details guy.
Probably better in little. This one's a little bigger. You can't just sling this one around your back, but this one looks cool too with the box.
I have a small amp that is a Brownstone, I think it is, which I think is a Sam Ash store brand.
Yeah, okay. I've never been a brownstone guy. I mean, I'm sure aren't those like more acoustic, like targeted or something?
I don't know. It cost me like $20 and it
Oh,
sounds good
okay.
to
Well, yeah,
me,
then buy it.
but I also haven't used it in like years, many years.
Do you think Floyd Burney looks properly like a rockabilly guy? He looks, oh, I guess it's
Mm.
64, so I guess he's a little older. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's the thing at 64. Okay. 10 years earlier, he would have looked like Johnny Angel, 89 years old, still playing at the Smokehouse in LA.
Yeah, I think Rockabilly was at that time profitable, which makes sense for him to be that
Yeah. Oh,
guy.
yeah, he'd still be gigging and stuff. Maybe he's like Chuck Berry, where he wouldn't have a touring band. He'd just do pickup bands everywhere he went because, like, those songs aren't that hard. I mean, Chuck Berry's great, don't get me
Where
wrong, but I mean, those
yeah.
if you're backing him, those songs aren't that hard, you know?
Where it's like everyone I know now that's like a Rockabilly person is like about 10 years older than me and just kind of hanging on to going out,
Have you
which
heard
is
of
cool.
Johnny Angel?
I mean, that's a song, right?
Well, he's
Johnny
also an
Angel.
89-year-old rocker. He's apparently the last of the old school rockabilly guys that's still doing it.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I wish I'd gotten a chance to see more of those guys. Like Link Ray played here a few times. I
I saw
never really
Dick
went.
Dale. Did you ever see Dick Dale with me? Did
I
you
think
see Dick
so.
Dale with
Is that
me?
weird?
Huh?
Is that weird? I don't remember. I'm not really sure. I think I did.
I know I did, but I don't remember. Well, we
That's
were in our
one of
20s
those
and
weird things.
probably were not, say, sober for that.
So I was either not sober for that or not sober for not that.
This was like around 2000 when Dick Dale was not playing to pay his health bills completely, which
I
that
mean,
was depressing with Dick Dale in the end.
didn't he come out with an album that was like really aggressive for some reason?
Yeah, I
He
think
was
he
like
did. Yes, he did.
75 or
He's
something.
trying
Yeah.
something else, right? Yeah, but
That
no,
was
he was.
good.
Yeah, no, he's good. But he was one of those guys where he's just like he had to keep playing because he had like he would play and like have like bags attached to his stomach and stuff, right? Which is kind of
Yeesh.
depressing. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I saw him before that. I had to be like, that's the case, you know. So it is weird. It's the not in 2025, like getting just watching the 80s of all the forever young 60s rock stars, which I guess your 10, the 10-year-old or Rockabilly people might be feeling that way. Except everyone's dead now.
Yeah, and then Keith Richards just lives forever.
Yeah, even he said he had to alter his guitar playing style because of arthritis now. So there's chinks in the armor there.
I mean, everyone dies. I mean, maybe. We'll
Except Keith
see.
Richards, maybe.
We don't know. We
Well, we all
haven't
thought
proven that
Bowie and
Keith
Prince
Richards can
were
die
never
yet.
going to die, and they died within a few months of each other.
Yeah, and it's funny because at the time it was like, well, no, not Prince, but at the time it felt like, well, David Bowie kind of had a good run, and now it's like, man, he probably could have, he probably could have at least gotten a 10 or 20 year retirement.
I think Black Star might be his best album if it's in the argument, I would say.
I've still barely been able to listen to it. Did I tell you about the whole thing where I watched the Black Star video right after he died, and it gave me like a horrible panic attack, and I
Oh, I
couldn't
did
like
too,
couldn't
but
deal with it. I couldn't deal with it. Like
you couldn't
I
deal with it.
yeah, I was
Well,
like
that's
I was
that's the vibe of
upset.
that album, so.
Yeah.
It has some of the
Uh,
most insane saxophone playing in rock music. I mean, obviously, you want to listen to some Sun Ra.
well,
John, what's not Coltrane's the other. What is it, the saxophone player in Sun Ra? John
I
Gilmore?
don't remember.
Anyway, the John Sun Ra sax man.
I mean,
Holy crap, that guy would go off the hoof.
I've seen
Coltrane
John
too.
Zorn.
Do some ohm, yeah.
I remember
Um,
seeing John Zorn live.
this is a reasonable episode to get on musical tangents, right? That's what the whole episodes does.
We have to because it's a podcast.
Yes. Yeah, I was also thinking like I also mentioned Owl Creek Bridge, and that was an art house 60s film, and this has to be one of the Twilight Zones that's like coming closest to doing art house 60s film, I think. Again, because of the song,
Yeah.
because it's atmospheric. I'm looking through the at least the season 5 list, and nothing else except for Owl Creek Bridge is sticking out as having a vibe like that. What do you think?
We're looking at season 5 specifically.
I'm not going through the whole list. I just happen to be in season 5. If you want, like the Invaders didn't have any dialogue, so that had a certain vibe, but it still felt like kind of like it had that 50s sci-fi and like horror thing going on. It wasn't like this weird atmospheric ghost story feel as
I
much.
mean, the easy one is Eye of the Beholder.
Okay, I was about to say Eye of the Beholder, so I guess that counts. Um, that
And
that yeah.
the shadow play and
Shadow play
to
doesn't
some
quite.
extent the
That
silence.
still feels so much Twilight Zone to me. I kind of go with your Eye of the Beholder because that one is fully. I mean, that's many people. I think that is the highest rated one on IMDb. But
Yeah.
I see what you're saying with that one. It's got the extra atmospherics while still having a lot of Twilight Zone DNA. And this one still has its Twilight Zone DNA. It's not like Owl Creek Bridge where it really does feel somewhat different. Like here, Owl Creek Bridge, they were out shooting in forest, where this one is clearly on the set they've shot half the episodes on.
And I think the After Hours belongs in that discussion. Like it is the department
Hitchhiker,
store.
there we go, the Hitchhiker too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The Hitchhiker.
I guess this is a vibe that the show hasn't like really hit a lot early on and hasn't done so much of since.
I mean, what the grave maybe? I'm having a hard time
I
remembering.
consider the Grave a comedy episode now, and that may be my personal
I mean,
problem, but
isn't this kind of a comedy episode? Like because
is The Wicker Man a
because
comedy
of
movie?
yes.
Then this is
I
a
mean,
comedy
no.
episode. Then
Yeah,
no.
yes and
Then
no.
yes. Then no.
Both. It's both.
Okay.
It's um like Crosby is playing this so like heightened that it sometimes he is just hilarious. Like he just hits that guy with a guitar and it like explodes. I mean that's
Wait. At the end, the old man.
no like no he hits the first what's his
Oh,
name
okay. So,
guy.
with that guitar. Sorry, at the end, because I was like, is he gonna take
No,
that
that was
hollow body Gretsch and bash the old man? And for a second, I thought he did, and then I realized he killed him with his bare hands.
no, he just punched him to death, but he
He
already
killed him with his
smashed the
bare
guitar on that
hands. I
guy.
guess he was old and
Yeah.
stuff, but yeah.
Well, maybe it might have been a little bit of Twilight Zone just making sure that you feel like you don't feel bad about this guy getting killed.
At least no window.
Yeah, there aren't any They don't have no windows.
Not in this town. No
Seems
windows.
like
I do like
Most of
how
that
it
town is
doesn't.
just the woods.
It does have the Wicker Man kind of, Celtic creepy feel up until Billy Rayford shows up, and then it's like hillbilly madness. It's like I guess we see the old man earlier, but we
Yeah.
kind of just take a right turn, left turn. We veer into hillbilly madness, which is good and bad again. So I'll
I
go with it.
think I think it's great because, like I was saying, it feels like the thing where Rod Serling is saying that the story, in this case, the song, but the story can't be taken and co-opted by you like Hollywood big shots, and it will kill you if you try to like steal it or interfere with it or co-opt it for yourself.
Yeah.
And
I
it
considered driving that bit into the ground, right? You do an opening narration. Now Mark's going to do the narration. I was like, okay, that's probably too much. I think what I did is probably enough.
I think the episode itself did that song just enough that it was like
Just
not
too
too
much.
much.
No, I think it did a
You
little
think?
too much. A little
Okay.
too much. It does become a plot point, and then you have to keep playing the song, right? Like once the song just starts telling you what's going to happen, now it does. But they do play
I
it
mean,
like three times before that when they maybe could have played it too.
it would be funny if the song just changed at the end and it was just like, well, now you better run and get out of here.
Goes into kind of like a Motown
Yeah.
Soul review.
And it's just like more of a fat it becomes more fast. I guess it does become more fast paced, but it becomes just a chase song when he starts getting chased.
Mm, yeah. Ah, the ghosts are chasing you, Floyd.
The ghosts
Hey,
start chasing you, chasing you, chasing you. Do you better get out of here, get out of this town.
here's a question. I don't think I know what the word bespoke actually means. I mean, I could look it up in a dictionary, but I thought it'd be more fun to talk about it on this podcast. Because there's like bespoke suits. She's bespoke. It's bespoke for you. It's a suit just for you, but this suit's just for me too. I had it tailored a little bit. Like it was
I'm
made
not
from
really
scratch for
sure.
you.
I'm not sure what she means when she says she is
Is
bespoke.
that just
And
redneck
then
talk?
there's
I'm
something
bespoke.
bespoke.
Not that
There's
she talks
something
that way. She has an
that
alluring voice.
it shows up in the lyrics, doesn't it? But like referring to something
Yes,
else.
it does. It comes up again. So, I walk to work sometimes, and I walk by
Uh,
the bespoke tailor, and I'm like, what exactly does that mean? It's something like Portland. You'd be like, here's your bespoke French fries. I think they called them artisanal, but is
I think
artisanal the same thing?
I'm looking at the definition on Wikipedia, and it's sort of like to speak for, arrange for. So maybe it
She's
just means
arranged
she's
for.
spoken for,
She's
as in
arranged
she
marriage.
has, yeah, well, she obviously belonged to someone else who also died,
Oh,
right?
right. And then the
Who
what?
was
Then how the
also,
Rayfords fit in here?
but I guess the guy she belonged to before was Floyd Burney the first time, because we haven't really talked about that.
Oh,
How
right.
he's,
Like the
I guess he's
mechanics of
dead.
this don't really. Yes, everybody's dead
No,
in this
that's
episode.
why people are
Everyone's
mad.
dead, Dave.
I
Everyone's
think
dead, Dave.
that has to be why it's low rated, right? It's just because it doesn't really make any sense if you pull on any of the threads.
Yeah. Now, I did think of the movie Haunted Honeymoon, which I haven't seen for 35 years, but do you know what I'm talking about? It's one of,
Nope.
oh God, Gene Wilder, and is it Gilda Radner's last film? It might be. And anyway, they're in this like Scottish castle, and the ghosts just keep running through and reliving a murder or something. Again, haven't seen it for 35 years. I don't believe it's considered to be a very good movie, but kind of a similar thing with this like, murder plot, just like repeating in a supernatural time loop.
Does it just have? Is the villain Dom DeLuise in drag? Because that's what it looks like.
It might be. It's been a while since I've seen it. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up. Maybe I shouldn't have brought up such a vague memory, or maybe I just hit an artery of like rich material. I don't know. I guess you're being the man in the chair and I'm ranting. I'm vamping. So,
I'm sitting in the IMDb computer chair.
yes, you're in that chair right now.
It is the
Um,
final film of Gilda Radner.
okay.
Um, Gene Wilder insists on using the same techniques for visual effects used in the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty Twilight Zoney.
Okay. Then media savant reputation kept.
Sure, it's a podcast.
Yes, yes. Um, I did think that the male singing is very Jim Morrison sounding a few years, which is funny. Then I thought it was funny that Bing Crosby's son is the guy here because isn't that the Wayne's World 2 joke? Like he's just a crooner, Jim Morrison.
I don't remember that joke.
Okay, I'm not. I'm the only person like I think we've talked about this before, how I have this weird affinity to comedy sequels, often liking them better than the originals. So
Yeah, that
I'm
is
one
kind
of
of weird. I feel like it's hard to do comedy sequels. Like
mm,
even comedy adjacent sequels like Ghostbusters 2, which I don't think is good.
I don't hate Ghostbusters 2 to be perfectly honest, but yeah, it's nowhere near as
Uh,
good as the original or 2016, I would say. Sorry, the second one there's fighting words, but I do believe it, I guess.
I mean, I don't think I don't
I love
I don't
Ghostbusters 2016.
I don't think there's well I don't I'm sure there are probably way more people here to attack Ghostbusters 2016 than to defend Ghostbusters 2.
Okay, yes, good point.
Mm.
Well,
And
let's
I don't think there are a lot of people who are like Ghostbusters 2 is much better than 2016. I think
hmm.
most people are like either they're all bad or most of them are bad. What a
By the way, I just
mess.
cited in my notes right before Billy Rayford shows up. I write two notes about, oh my God, stop it with the song. But once Billy Rayford shows up, now the song is essential to the plot, right? Like so
Yeah.
so maybe just that one time before Billy Rayford shows up, maybe we skip it, you know? I mean, the one that sings about him showing up, we need that. But maybe there's like a verse in there when he's tape recording. I don't know, something like that. That's a cool tape recorder, by the way.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's a minimalist episode, so it's like all you've really got is like you could have just put another song in there. It would have been pretty easy. But again, it didn't
Yeah,
bother me, but
give
it would have been
Floyd.
pretty easy.
Floyd could have had. They could have contrasted the ghostly murder ballad with, Floyd Bernie's rock and roller. You know, like you
Like,
said,
okay,
where it goes to a Motown review at the end.
Make Floyd Burney come up with a rock and roll song, and then she learns that, but then those lyrics turn into about how he's going to die. That's too much.
Yeah,
See, I've taken it too far the other direction.
right. Um, you got a favorite murder
Which,
ballad?
I mean, I don't know, probably something from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds Murder Ballads,
Okay, that's a good go-to. I
like
have
the
to
whole
take the
thing.
I have to take the Dylan Johnny Cash band route, and which you don't like at least two of those three, and go with Long Black Veil.
I mean, I
I've been that
respect all
guy.
of those, but I don't listen to them, and I
I've
probably will
played that
never
at a
will.
coffee house. I'm that guy.
I mean,
There
that's
is
respectable. That's cool. I've never played anything at a coffee house, I think.
um I do like what at the end when he ends up in the music store or the old man, I guess it's the music store, yeah. And then the player pianos start like supernaturally making noise. So he just makes everything louder by like beating on them. Like he's making everything twice as loud. And now it's clear that someone's in there. Whereas if it's just a bunch of player pianos, I mean it's not I mean it's pretty clear someone's in there, but he's making it more clear. He's like, pick me, pick me.
I thought that was really cool because it
It was
was
really cool. I just like
unnecessary.
cinematically.
It wasn't really necessary. It was just this big set piece that was they could have it was over the top. Like they didn't really have to do it. They could have just had the shadows closing in on them and that's it, you know.
I guess you've never been on the ride Pinocchio's Daring Journey because they don't have it in Florida. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I've been on that now.
It's a Fantasyland dark ride, and you go in and this I'm getting to the final room, which this is just how I felt about this episode. But it's Pinocchio's Daring Journey, and you go in and Pinocchio's singing and dancing. He's an actor. You go directly Angry Stromboli, Pleasure Island. Everything's dark. Everyone's getting turned into donkeys. It's like a brutal ride. It's great and it's janky and it's falling apart in California. I've only been on the Japanese one where they
Hmm.
keep everything in good shape, so that's also a plus. But anyway, for some reason, you escape Monstro. The blue fairy turns Pinocchio into a real boy, and then you just end up in a room full of clocks. That's how I felt about the end of this episode. And also, since you're unloading right outside, you often end up sitting in the room full of clocks for like a minute. You're sitting there, and okay, that's how, but yeah, that another unnecessary ending to a weird ride. I guess that's how the last scene of this episode also pans out. An unnecessary ending to a weird ride.
I'm gonna I had to look up I'm bad with song titles, but I just want to shout out The Curse of Millhaven from Murder Ballads by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Okay, good. We got a specific.
Yeah, it's like I remember the chorus, but it's hard to it's hard for me to remember the song
It's a
titles
great album.
because
I love Nick Cage, and I've listened to other Nick Cage albums
you
like
said
a
Nick
lot.
Cage.
Nick Cage, I did. Nick Cave.
Nick
Nick
Cave.
Cage is cool too.
I
If he
love
wants
Nick
to make an
Cage
album,
too.
I'll listen to him. Nick Cave,
Yeah.
it's everyone. I thought there might. He had a twofer album from about 2004. I really liked. Anyway, Murder Ballads. Whenever I start listening to that album, I very quickly be like, yeah, I want to hear Johnny Cash sing Murder Ballads instead, and then I do that.
Yeah, Johnny Cash is like
Or
too
Tom
flat.
Waits.
Johnny Cage is too flat, and Tom Waits is like too Cookie Monstery. Like he's just got
Take those.
it's too much.
You take those words back, Mark. You do not say that Tom Waits is too Cookie Monstery.
No, the
For the
curse
audio
of the
listener,
Cookie
I do have a
Monster.
Cookie Monster puppet on my hand now, and he is screaming at Mark.
It's the Cookie Monster's gonna take his song back. See, he's gonna take C is for Cookie back. He's gonna kill
He
me
was
for
right
trying to
there,
put it
man.
up.
You saw him when you were saying it. He was in the screenshot.
He's gonna he's gonna kill me for trying to trying to re-record C is for Cookie with my
No,
like fancy
Lotso's here to
guitar.
kill you.
Oh no! Did Lotso kill anybody? I thought he just ran a
A
kind of
tight
ran a
ship.
death
He ran a
camp.
tight ship. That's what Lotso did.
He ran a concentration camp for toys.
After that, they just ran a communist dystopia where everyone gets harmed. That's what we learned from watching Toy Story 3 again. Maybe.
Yeah,
Burn your
it's
toys in
been
the
a while.
furnace.
I mean, I learned since the last time we recorded an episode about Quentin Tarantino that that's his favorite Pixar movie, which is interesting.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, I think, yeah, I came up with that rolling across that film again. Oh, yeah, I do like the last note I want to throw out before we get to questions. They put his Rockabilly font on a bare wooden tombstone, which is great.
Yeah, that was very fun.
Here's one question. Okay, she seems to know everything that's going on. He doesn't know anything. He's completely amnesiac or whatever. I was wondering if this is like a Brigadoon thing where this has actually been going on for hundreds of years. So like 100 years ago, he's like a Civil War, traveling musician or something, right? And now he's
Maybe
a
it's like
rockabilly guy.
a Judgment Night situation where he's stuck in a loop.
That occurred to me. I guess that's again where people maybe don't like this episode because none of it makes sense. You go with it or you don't. If you think about it, it's not going to work, you know? If you don't think about it and just kind of groove to the tune, then it probably works okay. Which I guess it doesn't for most people because it's the second lowest rated episode.
I think, yeah, I famously nitpick a lot of like plot details, and I feel like his grave at the beginning, it's like handled with such a light touch that it made me not feel like asking questions, which I like. But yeah, some people really need to know the details of everything that happens,
Yeah, and then
and
Mary
I'm
Rice
not
is
one of
in
those.
mourning gear, and he doesn't see her, and then at the end she just is suddenly in mourning stuff again, but she's not dead yet, and it's like none of this makes
Yes.
sense.
But none of it is directly, flagrantly contradicting itself. And
Right.
that's what I think is good about it, and what other people may not feel so strongly about, because I think a lot of people just kind of hate mystery. Where it's like, man, I just saw this episode of The Mandalorian, and there was a droid, and it was like a C4 droid, but it was black. So I want to know like what planet makes black C4 droids. I think some people really watch Star Wars and just think that.
Okay, so my response maybe needs to go directly into the questions, which is, of course, first is who in this episode goes into or through the Twilight Zone?
What if I said the old man? It can't. It
You can
has to
say
be
the old man
Floyd
if you want.
Burney. It has to be Floyd Burney. That's the only. That's the very bonk bonk on the
Okay,
head.
so here's my response. It's everybody. This is the Twilight Zone. You don't even see the real world in here. It's like in Little Girl Lost, where we go get the one scene in the Twilight Zone and nothing makes sense, right? And everything's
Yeah,
blurry. This episode's not blurry, but that's this episode. It's just in the Twilight Zone with denizens of the Twilight Zone, right?
sure. I mean, I could go with that.
Now, the fact that things don't make sense doesn't matter because it's all Twilight Zone. There's no reality in this episode is the confusing part, you know?
it's Tales from the Twilight Zone.
Come wander with me
It's a
into the Twilight
spin-off.
Zone. Yeah,
it's a backdoor pilot for
with the
Tales
Zone
from the
Master
Twilight Zone
on Showtime.
with the Zone Master on Showtime. It did not get picked up, unfortunately. Now, what if this podcast? God, if you could do this podcast over, I would pitch to you that one of the questions should be, "What kind of a backdoor pilot is this?" Because they kind of all could be, right?
This one's not.
It could be.
I mean, everything could be, but this one's
Everything
not.
could be.
Okay. So, question number two. So who are you? I guess I will ask
I'm
you.
going with Floyd Burney.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. And I'm gonna ask you if Floyd Burney deserves his trip into the Twilight Zone.
I'm gonna say yes, asterisk, and that's just the asterisk because it's my gut feeling that he deserves it, even though I did not see
It's
any
vaguely
solid
annoying.
evidence. Yeah, I didn't see any solid evidence that he's terrible, but he seems terrible.
Okay. See, now I have to go with my answer that this simply is the Twilight Zone and everyone's in it. And I don't know. I don't know how this came to
Hmm.
be. I don't know what these people were like. If they were people, I'm not sure we're actually watching people. I feel like we might be watching weird archetypes too. So it's like this episode, you don't really know what you're seeing, which again, it's 100% in the Twilight Zone.
Sure.
You can't put your foot down anywhere. So you like that or you don't. So it's an
I
interesting episode. I guess that's the thing. What like what are some other Cavender is coming? That's just I mean this one has stuff to talk about.
I'm
That
sorry.
one
Yeah, were you gonna put that up as an interesting episode? Because I don't think that really
no, I was
is.
gonna
Because
say
it's
that
not
one's
even the most. It's not even the most interesting like episode where a genie comes to help somebody.
right,
It's like
right.
the
That's my
third
point.
most interesting of
That's a
those.
very low rated one that's not interesting. This one, if nothing
Yeah,
else, is very interesting.
yeah. This might be my favorite season 5 episode.
Oh, bold words there. Okay.
What's your favorite? So you're getting real close to the end. You've probably watched the last two. What's your
No, I haven't.
favorite so far?
Um,
Okay.
word of mouth tells me it's not going to be the Bewitching Pool. The Fear, we'll see, but don't.
Ooh, the fear's pretty good.
Okay.
You might really love the fear. Um, and the fear is anyway. It's another one of those sort of greatest hits, but I think it's done better than
I mean,
Stopover and
the
Quiet
lazy
Town.
answer really is Nightmare at 20,000 feet, isn't it? But
I can't see. I can't really. The monster looks pretty bad in that, especially compared to the movie version.
I am
That's
looking.
what
I am staring.
the
Well,
ding against it.
the encounter is the biggest depth charge.
Yeah,
That feels the most like
I mean,
important one, right? Um,
yeah,
but
that's a very solid candidate.
I also am looking at just as I've looked over the list three times now. I'm looking at Queen and I on the Masks as the standouts in my mind. I haven't watched Mr.
Eh.
Garrity in the Graves yet. I'm recording that in 3 days, but I haven't
Oh,
actually gotten, eyes to screen yet.
that was fun. You'll enjoy that one. That's
Okay.
it's another it's yet another one where you think it might be like a hillbilly nonsense, but it ends up being it gives you something.
And now people know I record these wildly out of order.
Like if they've listened to any of these, they know that already. You cannot resist. The thing is, you cannot resist tipping your hat. Where I'm always like,
That's
as you
interesting.
might
People
see,
interesting to
that
hear those things. Hmm. I'll
yeah,
dox
I
myself.
do. I think the Bewitchin Pool is pretty bland and pretty boring, but that one is, I think, liked more. Oh no, that's actually pretty low
No, that's
rated.
pretty. That's right down here, down there on the list with this one. So,
Yeah, I mean,
um,
it's it would be weird to end the Twilight Zone with this episode. I'll give it that. Like that
yeah,
would
this is.
be
I see where they
weirdly dark.
filmed it, and then they bought Owl Creek after that. That also would have been weird, right? So,
Hell no, you can't end it with that. I mean, maybe you could. I don't know. That would be like for my taste, that'd be pretty cool. But
I mean, it would
uh,
be a move, an interest. But yeah, I think you have to end the show with the actual production of the show, and like you said, maybe
yeah,
this is too much of an atmospheric weirdo one.
it's just the ending is too negative. Like there are actually a lot of episodes in the season that
Oh, excuse
these
me.
would
I'm thinking
not.
this probably is my memory and not. Um, and not an actual change. I mean, a flaw in my own memory. This one is actually number 10 on the worst list of this is the
Oh,
10. So okay, the ones that people seem to hate more would be I Dream of Jeannie, The Incredible World of Horace 4, The Mighty Casey, Cavender's Coming Sounds and Sciences of the Bard. So not it's not
eh.
high on the list, but it's not quite as rock bottom as I thought. So
Yeah, I would some of those are pretty bad that you just said.
right, like this is better than all this just because it has something at least to, like it's got a different vibe, it's atmospheric, and it's got something, it's not hitting all of its marks by any means, and it doesn't make any damn sense. So those are flaws. But and they play the song at least one too many times. But there's something,
You,
there's ambition here. Let's say that.
I'm gonna just scroll and see.
A for effort.
Hey, where do I wait? Really? Okay, I'm gonna see how far do I have to scroll before I see an episode where I'm like, I think this is probably better. Oh, A Thing About Machines is at number 11. That's
Yeah,
actually,
I remember seeing that one really lowly rated, and I'm like,
ooh,
that was
that's pretty
good.
good. That might be better
Yeah.
than this one. Anyway,
Let's put a tripometer on this one. 0 is not trippy. 5 is extremely trippy. What do you want to say?
I have to go 4.5 on this because like the repetition. I personally find repetition trippy, like the idea of a loop where she's
You
scored
find
sort of
repetition
two
trippy.
different. I find repetition
You
trippy.
find the idea of a loop trippy.
I find the idea of a loop and some repetition trippy. I find it trippy because it is trippy because repetition is trippy because I find it trippy. Anyway, um, you know, the 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 Billy Rayford is weird as hell. Um, the old man is pretty weird. Everyone is a bit
Everyone's a
weird
ghost.
except
They're in the Twilight
yeah,
Zone. Of course they're weird. And Floyd's
everyone
in the
is weird
Twilight
except
Zone,
for
doesn't know
Floyd
it.
Burney, and
He doesn't
Floyd
know it.
plays it up. He plays it up so much that he like, yeah, your Evil Dead metaphor is kind of apt. So it's like, and then you get that whole thing where all the musical instruments are like rolling around, and then I don't know. I think it's one of the all time trippiest for the series, personally.
That made me think of the antique museum in Stone Mountain, Georgia. You ever go there?
Yeah, I
And then
think
when you're a
I
kid,
barely remember it.
it ran on like pennies in the 80s, and then you go put them in like 8 different player pianos and make a cacophony. So that
Yep,
was definitely coming in my mind for this one.
yep.
Come wandering in my mind. Yeah, I'm going
Uh,
4 for this. I almost like do like I feel like I've just been giving a lot of like 3.5s and 4s recently, which I guess means that the Twilight Zone just got trippy at the end of the that season.
I
Because
I
I remember
think
the
that there.
first half of the season, it's like, why does nothing rate that high on the tripometer? And now I'm like, oh, everything's rating kind of high on the tripometer.
I mean, as these things go, it might have just been that Rod Serling was just trying to be like, we're gonna be grounded, and then you get Brain Center at Whipple's.
Yeah, and I guess people heard this a few weeks ago, so I can say it. But yeah, I deducted half a point off the tripometer for a Twilight Zone window in the encounter.
Oh.
Like minus half a point for a Twilight Zone window for no reason. This doesn't have a
uh,
window, so you know what? I'll agree with you. 4.5 because it doesn't have a Twilight Zone window.
I am excited to hear your tripometer score for The Fear.
Okay, don't know, haven't seen it yet. I can't tell you. We'll find out.
We know everyone listening to this knows you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Everyone is judging you
It's next week's episode on the podcast. Who
in
cares?
the future.
Why would I have seen it yet? I'd be doing my not due diligence by not watching it.
Yeah,
Triple
that's
negative.
right. Do not jump the timeline.
Any final thoughts you want to throw out on this one?
I love this. I love Rod Serling.
Who
Hollywood
did not write
sucks.
this?
He did not write this.
Just throw that
I
out there.
love Planet of the Apes. Hey,
There,
um,
okay. The TV
um,
show.
yeah, I mean, I love this. Just the general, what the morale. It's all morality play, right? I love the morality lesson of this,
Right.
which is like, do not go into the forest and try to like take the art that belongs to everyone, or you will be shot by
Rednecks.
hillbillies. Yes, rednecks will shoot you if you try to record their songs.
See, I think we're beyond a moral lesson this episode. I didn't get one out of this because I'm just like, this is all weirdness in the Twilight Zone, which is enjoyable to watch. But I'm like, I didn't have a takeaway morally from this. So,
Well, yeah, it's not it's kind of not super high on the messages, but
no.
I guess I just sort of took my own message from it because, right now I'm feeling pretty disenchanted about the entertainment industry
How
being
about the
like,
movie Disenchanted?
I haven't seen it.
I just
Is
wonder
it
if you're
good?
disenchanted about Disenchanted.
Sure. I mean, maybe it's bad.
It
I
didn't get
don't
well
know. Yeah,
reviewed.
I don't feel super great about it.
It
So,
didn't get well
if
reviewed.
you worked on Disenchanted, then write into the podcast and tell us why I should care.
I felt like I had something more notable to say, but now it's completely dropped my
I
mind. And future
derailed you
Matt is
with
screaming at the
nonsense.
podcast because he knows what he was about to say and forgot it. So, uh, for
I mean,
now,
I was like, I mean, we just recorded a Minecraft podcast, and I realized today that I could have just been shouting about Roblox the whole time, and I didn't say Roblox once.
oops.
Like I had a whole bit that I could be doing, and I just didn't do it.
I did get a bit in this episode, so there we go.
Yep.
Um, anyway, this is Time Enough Podcast. Do rate and review us on all the podcatchers. Mark and I do lots of podcasting over at podcastiopodcastius.org or podcastiopodcastius on Patreon. We talk about those Planet of the Apes on podcast 1999. Check it out. Films and Filth. We talk about those highly rated and lowly rated IMDb movies. Listen to it and come wander with Luke, who loves Pokemon and Monster Mashes and game shows, which we recently did one of. That's finished. I'm finished. The
Yep.
poetry is over.
Roblox.
Oh, Alan Lomax. There we go.
What? Alan Lomax? Who the hell's that? Am I supposed to know who that is? Did he
Okay, now I
work on
have to. I was going
Disenchanted?
to end it there and leave everyone confused, but okay, he is the
I'm
ethnomusic
sabotaging you.
biologist, ethnomusicologist who in the 30s and 40s went around and did a bunch of field recordings of folk music and stuff. So he was
Oh.
he. This music's a treatise against Alan Lomax, is my theory.
Rod Serling was just like Alan Lomax, wandering in the. He just thinks he's just gonna die from doing that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
he did die eventually, but that was from old age.
Or was it?
Okay, that's good enough. Hit a record there.